We are live once again. Hi everyone, Robert here, and welcome to the Robert Does Wrestling YouTube channel. If you happen to stumble upon this video and this is your first time here, make sure that you subscribe if you're interested in content like this, like the Impact Wrestling topic of the weeks, Impact Wrestling news roundups, Impact Wrestling reviews every single Friday, and the occasional Impact Wrestling guitar cover. We got you covered here on this channel, and we got a couple of things to talk about, but let's get started with the news. First one, this is not a happy one. It comes to us from WrestlingNews.co. Former TNA star undergo surgery, and that person happened to be Awesome Kong. If you happen to be a fan of her, I wish her the very best of luck. She has some type of problem with her back, so I wish her nothing but a speedy recovery. Next piece of news, there was some TNA footage being shown on the WWE Network, and they were basically promoting the GWN app on their network and the show that they did with Table for Three. Let me give my quick thoughts on this. There were people speculating, saying, hey, what happened is that under Dixie Carter, they would not have done this. And I would say yes and no. The main difference is that the WGN network do not have the name of Impact Wrestling. Therefore, it is an idea that is easier to pitch to Vince McMahon, because he see that gap between the branding of Impact Wrestling and the branding of WGM, the Global Wrestling Network. Therefore, he will be more open to promote that on his network, because at the end of the day, he doesn't see it as just promoting Impact Wrestling. Next, we got another piece of news. Taichi Ishimori now is part of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And Taichi Ishimori took a page out of Sanada. You remember a couple of years back, Sanada was the golden boy of Wrestle 1, right? And what happened was the following. Sanada wanted to leave for the Japan Pro Wrestling. What he did, he came here to the States. He did his thing here with Impact Wrestling. He let his contract come out, and then he jumped ship to New Japan Pro Wrestling. I guess, this is my guess, I'm not 100% sure on this one, but I think there is some cultural thing happening. Like, if you happen to be from Japan, you cannot just jump in from one promotion to the other one without catching heat. It looks like that. So I wish him nothing but the best of luck, and I hope Taichi Ishimori is still working with Impact Wrestling. Wish that also add a lot to the speculation that one day, somehow, some way, we will see once again Impact Wrestling working together with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Another piece of news is this one. This was very weak, very weird, right? So, Ivelisse Velez, she is part of Lucha Underground, and she participated in Tough Enough, but the genius at that time, I'm talking about Eric Bischoff and his wrecking crew, decided not to sign her and instead sign Lady Tapa. how how good that shit work out. Oh god. So what happened? Ever since Lucha Underground and Impact Wrestling have been working together, there have been the speculation about seeing once again Ivelisse working on Impact Wrestling. I even promoted that idea myself after hearing one of the podcasts on Spanish done by Conan. He implied to the idea of bringing Ivelisse Velez as being the replacement of Diamante once she, had that injury on her knee. And she was asked not that long ago about returning to Impact Wrestling, and she said, "Hey, they have not asked me," which is kind of odd. I even asked Lucha Underground what's up with the joint program with Impact Wrestling, and she would love to do it while Lucha Underground is on the dark side, not releasing stuff. She wanted to work with Impact Wrestling, but it looks like they have not asked for Ivelisse Velez for the time being. So it looks like there is no interest on the Impact Wrestling part 2 Ivelisse Velez. Next we got Rosemary, and finally we got a confirmation about her injury. It looks like she had a ACL injury. That means her knee is blown wide open, and I guess she's gonna be out for how long? I don't think that it says, but it's probably gonna take like 6 months, something like that. It all depends, and I wish her nothing but the best and a speedy recovery. I don't want her just to get the curse that Chris Sabin had, like he blown his knee just to return and once again, blow it at again. I hope this is just an injury. She can recover as fast and as quickly as possible, and she can return to Impact Wrestling, and there's no more problem with that knee for the time being. Next, we got another piece of news. We got former Impact World Champion Austin Aries challenging Silas John for the Ring of Honor World title, and it looks like it's gonna be on the 16th. No, it is gonna be on a television taping on Chicago, as far as I do understand. So let's see if he is willing to, he's gonna win or not. I am expecting him to win. I don't see why Silas John should be winning, unless and until there is something more in that plate. But best of luck to Austin Aries, and I hope they have a kick-ass match so we could get cheer all around the internet, because that at the end of the day is what matters the most at this moment in time for both promotion, Ring of Honor, and Impact Wrestling. Next week, I'm gonna give my quick thoughts on the Pentagon does Iowa show. I did not watch the whole show. However, I did watch the main event between Pentagon Jr. versus Jimmy Jacobs, and I saw the whole thing as being very fun. It is a good match, hardcore match. There was a lot of blood and stuff like that, so obviously that is something that I did enjoy. Good match. I guess the production quality was not up to standard, but at the end of the day, this was just a Twitch live stream, so we're not paying basically for it. It is basically ads and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, it is up to Wrestling Revolver to step up their game. But as far as that match, this was quite good. Next, we got Impact Wrestling using the angle of Sami Callihan attacking Don Callis. This was filmed a while back, I think early April. They decided to put it now as a wrestling angle, and what people are putting in together is, will they fire Sami Callihan? I don't know why. Sami did nothing wrong by beating Don Callis. So I don't know where all of this is going, but this is good. Sami Callihan has a step up his game, and he has become a must see character inside of the Impact Wrestling world. Hopefully they do the right thing. Maybe put Sami Callihan versus Moose, Mr. Impact Wrestling, for the next set of taping once his feud with Eddie Edwards finish, which by the way is one of the best feud this year. Now we're gonna jump into the polls. First thing first, I got to announce one thing. Next week and the week following that, I will not be here at home. I'm gonna be working inside of the island, right? But I'm gonna be obviously recording videos and releasing that day. So I'm asking you, I ask you, my audience, what type of videos would you want to see? And it looks like the top 10s won. So I'm gonna be working on 2 top 10s that I'm gonna be releasing this next 2 Wednesday. As far as the Impact Wrestling reviews from Friday, that is gonna be staying the same. That is the day that I'm gonna escape and come here to record, but I cannot do that twice in a week. So it looks like the Wednesday live transmission is gonna take a short hiatus, but I'm gonna be returning once again, and I got a couple of good guests in line that are gonna be joining me next month. So be on the lookout for that. And thanks to everybody who have supported me, especially doing this type of stuff. This is kind of a different thing from a pre-recorded, highly edited video. This is a lot more spontaneous and stuff like that. And by the way, if you have not seen one of my top 10s, I highly recommend for you to check out my playlist. I have a playlist on this channel. I'm gonna be putting this at the end of the video. I got a top 10 about Samoa Joe, about The Undertaker, about Kurt Angle, against also the Monster Abyss, also on RBD. So if you happen to be fan of those wrestlers, make sure to check those top 10s, and you might find some hidden gems and wrestling matches for you to research in the near future. Another poll. I ask, what are your thoughts on Su Yung versus Rosemary angle for last week Impact Wrestling show from May 3rd, 2018? And the majority of people say it was great. I'm on the camp that it was corny but effective, but democracy rules, and people said that it was great, so I'm gonna buy it as such. Next, the usual. What was the grade of this episode of Impact Wrestling? And it was a outstanding B. A B. That is good, especially for a show 2 weeks after a pay-per-view, which you that show. Another another poll that I asked was the following: would you like to see Rich Swann in Impact Wrestling? And this was weird. I was not expecting this, and a lot of people voted for him for a yes. Just to give you an example, as someone like the Pope managed to reinvent himself, and he was able to brush out the idea of him being a former World Wrestling Entertainment talent. He was able to brush out the idea and the label of being a World Wrestling Entertainment character. So if Rich Swann have that talent, I would say, hey, give him a short trial and see how things roll. But he doesn't. If he doesn't have that, what it takes, I rather avoid him, because you may not want to give that all ammunition of Impact Wrestling being the recycled being of the World Wrestling Entertainment. Next poll question: who from the current Impact Wrestling International talent pool will become a big star in the US, I guess, first in the near future? And the winner was Hijo del Fantasma. This guy had what not all of the other wrestlers inside of the S division have, is that this guy is tall. He's around 6 feet 1 or 6 feet tall. That is something that you won't get, just out of your ordinary exhibition talent. So that fact, and the fact that he is able to work very clean, will help him maybe become a big star in the near future. I am, to be honest, very high on the flashy style of Aerostar. I think if you market him in a proper way, you might have someone that is gonna make a lot of money for Impact Wrestling in the near future, or for any other company. However, there is also the example of Místico Sin Cara. He was hot in Mexico when he was wrestling for CMLL. He was a beast, no question asked. However, once they changed him from the Mexican style into something more Americanized, they took him out of his element, and he was not the same wrestler. Next question, and this was the one that got the biggest amount of votes, thanks to a guy called, let me see if I can find him. This was retweeted by a guy called like Wrestling Pulse, something like that. I would like to give him a big shout out for retweeting this and making me, reach people who I haven't not reached on Twitter. So the question goes like this: if Chris Jericho ever show up to Impact Wrestling, who should be his opponent? And the winner was Austin Aries. That is something that, to be honest, I am expecting to happen. Not necessarily like in the near future, but that is something that I am expecting for him to show up. I don't know if it will be this year, but I guess he will do any type like short program, and I think that could be the best one. Or Eli Drake. The amount of trash talk between Aries and Chris Jericho is gonna reach a wider audience that enjoy that type of stuff, and that is mutually helpful for Chris Jericho and for Impact Wrestling, because it will add to the mystique of Chris Jericho being his own man, not being, in the shackles of Beanie Mac and his crew, doing his own thing and being unpredictable, and you might not know where he is gonna show up next. I also asked my audience, would you recommend the Penta dos Iowa show? And it was a surrounding yes, 96%. There was a couple of obviously technical difficulties, but it was a fun show. I saw the main event and I approve it. Another question that I had was the following: out of the tag teams Jeff Jarrett brought into Impact Wrestling last year, which one would have the most amount of potential as a tag team? And I put BOW or Reno Scum, and the winner was Reno Scum. I find it crazy that BOW was not able to, let's say, become bigger inside of Impact Wrestling. I always wanted, Crimson and Gunner, since they were together as the coalition. So I think that would be the one that could be like the winner of that tag team. I think that was the best combination for Crimson and Gunner. But as far as we know, they decided to sign him up really, really quick to the World Wrestling Entertainment side of things. So there's a lot of speculation about Reno Scum returning to Impact Wrestling. I wish that could happen. The Impact Wrestling tag team division needs more people in it. So what better tag team than those two guys? And they wanna work with Impact Wrestling. They are training. They are keeping themselves into the indie circuit. So let's take advantage of that. And also, we need taller tag teams. We are lacking heavyweights big time, and we're not gonna get that far without heavyweights. Only the indie talent can get us so far. So next we're gonna be talking about a preview from what is gonna be happening tomorrow on Impact Wrestling. So the main event of the evening is gonna be Pentagon Jr. versus Eli Drake for the Impact World title. Looking forward to this match. I would love to see what type of, I guess Mexican type of wrestling can you get out of Eli Drake being the base of the whole transition. Is he able to match well with that different style? This is what I'm looking for. I'm not looking forward for Pentagon to wrestle just as your, heavyweight, middleweight type of wrestling. I'm looking forward for tomorrow for him to bring some of that Mexico flavor and see how Eli Drake reacts. And that matters a lot because at the end of the day, if he's able to match with that, you could see that you have basically almost the perfect talent, because Eli Drake is good on the mic, good, taking care of his physique. He also can do some athletic stuff. Now, throw him into a tag team. He's kicking ass as a tag team wrestler. Now, do some Mexicans, wrestling with him. Let's see how he reacts to that. So he's adding more things to his repertoire if they are willing tomorrow night to put a little bit of that flavor into this match. Another match that we have, speaking of Mexican flavor, we got a X Division match. This is a number one contender match as far as I'm aware. Aerostar, Hijo del Fantasma, Taichi Ishimori, and Drago. So this is gonna be one of those train wreck type of matches, fast and furious, but hopefully it is good and entertaining. Also, we have a tag team match, LAX versus the returning DJZ with his new tag team partner, Andrew Everett. And also we will hear from Tessa Blanchard, since these people Impact Wrestling is in love with her for the time being. So I'm gonna take a quick look into the chat room. Okay, yeah, I'm reading the chat room. Let me put the chat room on the screen. Yeah, I have a Andre Corbio asking me for, yeah, I'm gonna post this on the Wrestling with Wrestling website. Yeah, Diamante versus Ivelisse would be awesome. That's good. I think that is a feud that just right itself up, and you can, let's say, have either of the two being the baby face. They could even do like a double switch because of their popularity and how they come across. They don't come across as just your nilly vanilly, female talent. They have that character that they project why they are important and why you should pay attention to them. There is also, people wishing Impact Wrestling will sign Neville Pack, who, by the way, he's like having major problems with World Wrestling Entertainment, as they are sending him like to the corner. He's not wrestling on TV or anything like that. He's just waiting for him and his contract to be finished. I truly do not like that attitude. I don't know why. I truly don't understand why. I think it is better for them to use him as even as an enhancement talent. But when you throw a person like, just go home, sit in the corner like a kid or something, that could be demoralizing into a sense. I don't like that. I say, if you have a wrestling that might have like depression, right? That is gonna add to that depression because you are making that talent feel useless, and I cannot support that. And even if Impact Wrestling did that, I will also be against it. That just how can I put it? That just help help a person become even more depressed. And I'm not saying that is what is happening to Pac, as he is depressed or anything like that, but that can add to that dark thoughts and that dark atmosphere, and I do not agree with it. And also, we got the guys from the Hillcast supporting me going live. Thank you for everybody who's watching this live stream. So I'm gonna cut it short for the time being. If you enjoy this type of video, let me know in the comment section. If you agree, disagree, however you have in your mind, please put it in the comment section below. Thank you a lot for taking out of your busy day just to talk about Impact Wrestling with me on a Wednesday night. So I hope to see you this Friday during the Impact Wrestling review. So that's it for me. Goodbye and thanks for